Welcome to episode 15 of Inside Politics, for teens, by teens, where I explore the politics and issues impacting our generation. I'm your host, Christina Li, and today I'm focusing on political coverage by members of Gen Z. For this, I've invited Jessy Han, a sophomore at the University of Toronto. He covers Massachusetts politics on Twitter, and he's one of the co-hosts of the Cod Cabin podcast. All right, Jessy, thank you so much for being here with me today.
Great to be here.
Yep. So the Massachusetts primaries happened on September 1st, and I understand that you've been extensively covering it on your Twitter. So could you just give an overview of what exactly you've been doing with that?
Well, what I've been doing on Twitter and off of Twitter is, reading the articles every day that come out on the Boston Globe, on Mass Live about this race, what's going on, track some incoming polls, talk to campaign managers, see what they're seeing, get some details on what their internal polling looks like. Yeah, that's basically it.
Very cool. And I understand that you were on the ground today. You were at the polls, right? So could you just talk about what happened with that?
Sure. There were a few hundred ballots left to be counted in Newton. I'm tracking something new right now that there could be a few hundred more, which would be crazy. So it was left uncounted. The state allowed them to do some counting today, so it was all open to the public. I was there with a few other journalists. There's one from the Globe. All the networks were there, and we were just watching them count the ballots and see as the numbers come in, if anything, it would shake up any of the races. And it didn't look like it shook up any races, but it was interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm. And I know you describe yourself as an accidental journalist. So could you talk a little bit about your journey with, covering politics and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, sure. I usually just, in the past, I would just send links around to my friends. As I grew my Twitter following, I was sharing some stuff with people, and some people would send me some stuff, I'd repost it, and all of a sudden I just became a relied upon source. So I felt like I had to live up to the expectations. So I had to do the work, read the articles, talk to the people in the know, and spread that information around.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like you primarily focus on state level politics, right? So I guess I feel in my experience, I feel most of the people who follow politics usually follow national level politics. So what about the Massachusetts state level politics stood out to you and made you want to primarily cover that?
Well, on the state level, you could really talk to the candidates. I don't think you'd be able to talk to the former vice president or the president if you wanted to cover the federal races. But on the state level, state politics impacts our lives much more than anything on the federal level does. And people don't care about it. People don't know who their state rep is. People who don't know who their state senator is, even though they're the ones in Boston changing our lives on a daily basis. So I feel like, there's nothing wrong with following federal politics. There's nothing wrong with being involved in federal politics. I was on a couple of those campaigns. I interviewed Joe Kennedy, who was running for Senate, and I interviewed some of the candidates for Congress. But I think local races are really undervalued, and especially in a day when local journalism, local papers are dying, some people need to step in and fill that void.
Mm-hmm. And I guess for the fellow, casual politics watchers out there, what would you say to them to make them want to, care more about and get involved with politics?
I think I touched on it a little bit back then. Some people look at politics and think, this doesn't impact my life at all. But even the small votes, even on something that is just changing how the tax rates are interpreted, or changing how the formula is done to allocate funds to schools, which is something the state legislature did last year, and I don't think any people know about, because that impacts your life. If you get 20,000 per student instead of 17,000 per student, that's a significant amount of money. I don't know who actually gets that much money, but I'm just throwing out some fake numbers to make a point.
Mm-hmm. And I guess like since I think you're relatively young to be a journalist, right? So I guess like from your experience, like when you're reaching out to I guess like these candidates asking for interviews, like have they treated you differently based on your age, or has it just been like no difference?
Well, I don't really know. I don't have the perspective of a senior journalist, so I don't know if they treat me any differently. But they don't treat me like a kid. They expect the tough questions, and I think that's something. I guess that's good.
Yep. All right. Very cool. All right, Jessy, thank you so much for being here with me today. And
Yeah.
stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see everybody next time on Inside Politics. Hi, everyone. This is Christina. Thank you so much for watching Inside Politics. And please feel free to check out the rest of the interviews on my channel. See you next time.